To my live. I'm Allison Ziggy. It is the first day of March. We have a helicopter overhead, if you can hear it. And I want to help you make this the best month of your life. I say that every month because I truly believe that every moment is a fresh start, new perspective, new opportunity to call in energy and to experience something unlike what you have ever created up until now. One of the things that I've been working through in my own life is kind of releasing or reframing my relationship to the way that things have gone in the past when they haven't gone the way that I've wanted them to go. Like, not just reframing failure, but looking at the way that I've approached doors that have been closed in my own life and how do I open them without forcing or like just pushing my agenda so heavily, being like, I know how life is supposed to be and it's not, and letting go of this desire to do that, to kind of like force my will upon life and kind of to have my desires and let them serve as North Star guidance and kind of work with life to make those things happen, as opposed to looking at my life and being like, this doesn't look like what I thought it should. I'm failing. I'm not doing it right. Whatever the internal dialogue that goes along with when things like appear to be different than the way that we believe that they should be. And kind of like letting all of that go and just being like in awe of what's already been created with life. I look at this experience that I've had when I've been in Georgia for these past few weeks, and it has just been amazing. Like, I've loved the way that I felt down here, and I've been able to really tap into deeper levels of myself just through being in nature, being around family. I feel like I have exponentially sped up the timeline that I am on. So I talk about like helping you get onto your sparkliest timeline because I really think there's just always an opportunity to become the version of yourself who you know you can be. Like, not in those moments when you're doubting or you're questioning or like how this is going to work, but like when you're truly like just in that state where you can dream and you can access the things that light you up and make you feel happy to be alive and to be like on earth, for lack of a better like way to put it. And the other thing that I found really interesting, I was reading this book yesterday, The Four Agreements. I'm reading all kinds of things. Like, I'm really on my spiritual A game. I've been really on my breathwork game. And if you want to get in, we have breathwork on the 3rd. And it's $33 if you sign up today. Tomorrow the price goes up to $55. So make sure that you check that out before I update the price, just because this is going to be a really intimate experience. You're also going to get access to a copy of the new Allison Ziggy Full Moon Journal, which is absolutely incredible. And you'll get access to it as a PDF. So you can reuse this every time that the moon comes around. So this is an incredible opportunity, great deal to access this. But I've been on my A game spiritually. So I've been doing meditation every day for 30 days, closed eye. We're doing like mantra based meditation. I've been really on my A game in terms of my journaling practice. Like, every day I've been sitting down, freehand writing 3 pages, which is a practice from the artist's way. I am watching dogs. So I've been taking them on morning walks every day. I've been working out and just kind of really have removed all the external noise aside from me. And it's allowed me to kind of look at the places in my life where I've been setting the same goals and things haven't been happening or haven't been working, and like recreating the narrative around that and realizing that there's always a way to make what you want happen, which I don't really like wording it that way because it seems very like forced in will, like you can make whatever you want happen, but you get to have whatever experience of life that you are desiring. It's not going to look exactly how you want it to look. It's not going to happen in exactly the way that you think it's going to happen. But the things that you're desiring are possibilities for you. And a lot of times they're guiding us towards a different way of existing and being and going about everything. And I find this really beautiful. Yesterday I was on my walk and I get so inspired when I'm on those walks. It helps me create a new video series that I'm calling Your Soul is Showing. Kind of like, you know, how somebody's like, oh, you're whatever showing, like your soul is showing, kind of like showing you like there's this part of you that's trying to come through. So this new video series came through to me on my walk, Your Soul is Showing. And I was like, okay, so I've been like filming videos on the walk. And yesterday I was walking and this idea came to me where I was like, you can't control which story is yours, but you can control how you tell it. Like, I look at some of the experiences that I've had on the path to a self-actualized life, if you want to call it that. I think about it in terms of just like really following my purpose path and really like following one intuitive step at a time to create the life and career that has always been meant for me. And I was just thinking about some of the other great people have come before me and like their stories. And I'm like, well, I wish I could have that story instead. What a like crazy thought. But then that's when the idea came to me, like, you can't control which story is yours, but you can control how you tell your story. And I was thinking about wanting examples of people who had struggled with some of the things that I faced on my path and getting to where I'm at. And I was like, oh, maybe like my story is meant to inspire other people. Like, I can't look and be like, I wish that this story was this way, when like I'm going to be that example for people. And that was a really beautiful lesson. And a lot of this is just coming through nature. So I'm still here for a bit, which I'm really grateful for. I'm really excited to see what breakthroughs continue to come through, because I feel like I've been down here for an indefinite period of amount of time. Like, it doesn't feel like a time that I can explain to you, even though it's only been 2 weeks. I just feel like I've been fundamentally transformed since being down here on so many levels. Just the way that I've viewed, again, closed doors that have been closed for a while, and like the way that they've opened without me needing to like forcibly like open the door jar. So today what I wanted to do was actually walk you through a practice that I do at the start of the month. And this is from the Anything is Possible planner. So I'm actually going to be re-releasing a spring-summer version of the planner. I found that I personally prefer the thickness of 6 months versus a year. I found that this was like a little bit too big. So this is why we trial and error, and we don't judge the trial and error that it takes to get to where we want to go, because that's wisdom, and you don't know unless you create it any other way. Like, one day I'll create this, but I just think I like to carry my planner with me absolutely everywhere that I go. And this is an Allison Ziggy planner that I created, like literally every detail of this thing. It's like pretty remarkable, actually. So like all the handwriting inside is mine. I have listed like all the moon phases and like the transits and the holidays and Mercury retrogrades. And at the start of every month, there's some questions that I ask. And if you're interested in this kind of thing, like pen to paper manifesting, I do have a free virtual library that you can just access on my site, like all kinds of meditations and like resources like this. But I wanted to go through this practice, so I wanted to take you with me as I'm like setting intentions for the month of March. Now, this is happening at an interesting time because I'm currently reading this surrender experiment. And in reading that, it's kind of changing my perspective around like desires and like setting goals. And it's like kind of okay to admit that you don't know what you want, because we sometimes just think we want something because it will get us to move in a certain direction. And then sometimes you even get something that you want and you realize it's not what you want anymore. But it's more about like allowing yourself to just become the version of yourself who pursues that thing and who it turns you into. I look at who I am versus, even in meditation today, like I literally hugged the version of myself who started my business, who was so submerged in fear. She had no reason to believe things were going to work out. She had just faced the biggest hardship of her entire life, which is now the premise of the book that I'm creating. And hi, we have a visitor for our meditation. But I just, in the meditation that I did this morning, like held her and was just like, thank you. So I was able to thank this past version of myself and just kind of show her what we've created. And I have the most beautiful visitor with me, who is Reiki attuned. He sat on my lap every single attunement that I received in Reiki. So I think this is our cue to meditate. Okay, let's see if he lets us. Ready? We'll close our eyes. Breathe in. Breathe out. Let's go ahead and get centered. And when we close our eyes in meditation, it really helps to just focus on your breath. If you can uncross the channels of your legs, you can have your legs serve as little roots that ground into the earth. There's a lot of uneasiness, heaviness, uncertainty. Breathe in. Let go. And I invite you to imagine little roots sprouting out of the bottoms of your feet, the little soles, and going into the core center of the earth. I want you to imagine these roots going down, 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 connecting to the core. And you can see these little roots, almost like you would see roots in a tree, grounding you and supporting you and providing you with the strength to grow upward and to be the version of yourself who you're being called to be in this moment. It's never been more important to tune inward and to show up embodied in who you are. The world needs you right now, especially in your authentic truth and in your energy. You are so much more powerful than you've been giving yourself credit for. what you've created with your life is so much more special than you're maybe even consciously realizing right now. And I invite you to really let go of any insecurities, any energies that haven't been yours. Go ahead and let these go from like the soles of your feet. Laughing is sometimes just moving energy, but I'm just laughing at life. I'm just letting it all go. Letting go of the way you think things are supposed to be, letting go of the stories of what hasn't been working, the wishing things were different, wishing you were different, wishing you wanted different things, wishing it hadn't been so hard. We're sending it all down, down, down. And if you think about kind of the heaviness of those emotions, it's weighing you down and you just need to let it go. Like you can literally just imagine like little weights dropping. And this is leaving your energetic body. It's creating space. And so you are protected and guided in this meditation. You can imagine just your energetic bubble field around you. This is your aura, your unique soul essence. You may see a color associated with it, but just know you're protected. You're guided. You can call on if you have any angels you like to work with, if you want to call in your higher self, if there's source, God, universe, anything that relates to you that you'd like to call in, any energy that you'd like to use for support this month. I can also open the channel to Reiki to allow release for anything that hasn't been working. So I've invited the Reiki into this space. As I said, I have my little Reiki attuned cat with me too. And we're just releasing anything, any heaviness. I'm tapping into the collective energy of what needs to be released from this group. And it's self-doubt, insecurity, the narrative that it's not working, the narrative that it should have happened by now, the narrative that you're doing something wrong for being where you're at right now. And we're dropping all of that. And with each breath, you release more and more. And with each breath in, you're calling in more of your essence and more of your strength to be who you need to be this month. I've been really playing with the energy of like big cat energy this month, kind of because it's like in like a lion. And I obviously have Spider with me, who's like the cutest little leopard. So just playing with just this energy of like King of the Jungle vibes, but just like King of the Jungle in your own world. Like you're owning how powerful you are. You're being brave in the situations that call for it. And also I was thinking about in terms of leopards, letting your spots be different, like letting yourself stand out, letting your true energy shine. So releasing anything that's not serving us. And as you start to call your energy up, and call your energy up through the crown of the head, your crown chakra. I'm so annoyed I have to take my hat off, which I didn't want to do because I don't like my hair. But when we're working with crown, you're like connecting. You can imagine little antennas sprouting out of the top of your head, connecting to a nearby constellation, any like universe, just something cosmically to kind of put things in perspective. Realize that there's always a different way of looking at things. There's always solutions available. Anytime you start to feel overwhelmed or clouded, you just need to shift your perspective and tune back inward and marvel at what a miracle it even is to be here. So I invite you to call in some of this cosmic energy. You can imagine sparkly stardust, calling in the energy that you need in order to be who you're choosing to show up as this month. And I invite you, I'm going to give you some of the questions from the planner to kind of meditate on and think about. And think about your North Star guiding intention for this month. If you had to pick a way of being, of how you want to show up this month, is there a word? Is there a phrase? Is there a multitude of words? I'm just going to share some of the words that are coming through. Trust, flow, allowance, convergence. It's maybe like breaking free, breaking ground as well with spring. Okay. So in order to get to a place where you've never gone before, it's going to require going to new places internally within yourself. And meditation can really help with this. But it's this connection to yourself and feeling safe to step out of the parameters of your current comfort zone. And that requires a lot of bravery, a lot of courage. Just know that anything you're being guided towards, you're being called towards for a reason. You don't need to know that reason. And it doesn't mean that it's necessarily going to go exactly how you want it to, but just trusting that you're moving in the right direction. And there's no right or wrong, but you're moving in the path that's going to lead to the most ultimate fulfillment, your destiny, your true happiness. So when you reflect on this month, I invite you to call to mind things that you know that you have going on, commitments you've already made, things you've already said yes to, things that you're planning to do. And I just invite you to visualize yourself. And if you don't visualize, that's okay. You can just see or feel the energy of showing up to these commitments fully embodied. And just see yourself showing up as the version of yourself you've always been meant to be. Just showing up and being like, wow, I've never really showed up like that before in my life. And this is amazing. And what does that feel like? And what's the internal dialogue? Allow yourself to receive those words now. We're letting go of the expectations, letting go of the timeline, letting go of the how. We're allowing ourselves to align to this energy now. So you have your North Star intention. You call to mind some of the big things that you're doing this month. But you just to anchor this all in. And when you feel ready, we're just going to seal all this energy in. You can feel the warmth of the sun calling in the sunshine. Growth. When you feel ready, your fingers. Come back into the room. Growth is a beautiful thing. And that is the word that came through for me for this meditation. So the questions that are in the planner that I'd like to invite you to complete with me now is like, close your eyes and breathe into the energy of the highest possible timeline version of this month. What does this energy feel like? What do you already have planned for this month? What opportunities are available? And then word, mantra, or North Star intention. So I'm going to put those in the chat. I'm just going to say journal prompts. Energy of highest timeline. What is happening this month already? And then North Star intention. Okay, so I commented that, so you can like journal with me on that, but I'm gonna write this down. So, what does the energy feel like of the highest possible timeline? I have to let him in real quick. Okay. Okay. And then once you're done with that, I'm going to lead you through the next exercise, which is one of my personal favorite manifestation exercises. Okay, first, there is an aligned action tracker in the planner. So I like to use this, and it's called aligned action, not habit, because this is basically identifying the actions that you can take that will help get you to the next level. I do want to caution you, like sometimes this can feel like an overwhelming practice. Like tune into this when it feels good. Like this isn't meant to be overly dogmatic or prescriptive. This is meant to be like asking yourself what feels the most aligned and true for you. Like right now, I know meditating and journaling feels really good for me. I know that daily writing has felt really good for me. So just make a list of like the actions that correspond to the desires that you have. This isn't, again, meant to be super prescriptive, but like even today, I drank water before I drank coffee, and that felt like that made me feel really good about myself that I even had the thought to do that. That showed me that like things were shifting in the way that was supporting and serving me. So this isn't meant to be super like, I need to post on all platforms every single day because I've definitely done that. And like, even at the end of last year, I was like, I'm going to finish my book before the end of the year. And it really like freaked my nervous system out. So this is meant to be like gentle guidance. This isn't meant to be like jumping off the deep end, super regimented. If you do these things, you definitely get what you want. But it's like, what behaviors support your desires? You know, I even look at like one of my goals personally was like to start investing more money. And so, like, I made a small contribution to my investment account. And that was like almost like a ceremonious like action that I was taking that was like in towards something that I wanted. So that's not something that I'm doing every day that I'm going to put on my habit tracker. But do you see what I'm saying? Like where the difference is? Like it's not like regimented, like you need to do this every day if it doesn't feel good. But maybe thinking about, or like that could even be a daily action now that I'm like talking about it. It's like, okay, looking and checking my bank account every day. Like that could be a sacred practice that I incorporate. So I almost want to like say that this is more ritualistic and kind of like an honoring of self versus a like masculine bulleted daily to-do list. But for me, like I'm definitely putting meditation at the top of that list. So this has 10 things, as many as feel good for you. Daily movement. Check bank account. I made a TikTok today, and one of my favorite things that I've been doing, like first thing when I wake up, I have a separate journal right by my bed, and I write like literally when I wake up, it's like a mental exercise of like, why am I worthy of what I want? And I've been like writing, like connecting to one thing at least of like, why do I deserve what I'm manifesting? And it's actually like trained my brain. So I do that like first thing in the morning and then like right before bed. So I'm doing like self-image journaling right here. Because I have like my 3 pages, like morning pages journaling, but self-image journaling has been a little bit different. I'm like tapping on my face, but I find like with EFT tapping, sometimes it's like just a big time commitment. And there's other ways that I like to move my energy. This is a cool one. I just came up with like mirror work skincare, like looking and like telling myself how beautiful I am while I do my skincare. These are like fun. I swear in the past I would be like publish Substack. You know what I mean? Like they were just like super like intense. Oh, one more. Reading. Duh. Okay. And then the question is like, these are different. So this is a new one. And this was like way better questions. But remind yourself of why this is important for based on the intentions you set for this month. These things, my intentions, growth, and highest possible timeline, Allison. I honestly don't feel like writing that right now, so you can if you want, but I think it's good to like revisit that when you feel called. So, and then the last question that is in the journal is visualize as if March exceeded all of your wildest expectations, right from the vantage point of yourself from March 31st, using either past or present tense. So like March was amazing. It was the best month ever. I couldn't have even predicted how everything would have happened in my favor in a way that just felt so, you see what I'm saying, where you're like saying it's in the past, or you could say like, I love this month. This month has been everything. So I guess past is pretty much preferred, but don't write it in like, I want this month. You know, you're like anchoring to the fact that you already have it. So, yeah, let's just do this for a bit. Oh, are we being mindful and journaling? I was getting comments on YouTube. I don't even know if anybody's still. Yes. It's not letting me type on YouTube. I typed it on Instagram, but there were a few prompts that I had for the first day of March. Basically, that I described the scripting practice. Yes. Thank you. I know. I was going live on Instagram and I decided to go live on YouTube as well because I do my Instagram lives a lot, but I haven't done YouTube lives that much. What is happening this month? It's like a study with me, journal with me, you know? What do you have going on this month and how do you want to show up? And then I hope that this keeps and I don't have to type this again when I post it. Okay, so I just wrote the journal prompts, but just grab your journal and see what comes through. And then I don't know if you heard the part where we were talking about the scripting, but basically you're journaling as if you just had all your dreams come true. I just said like March 2026 was spectacular. I love the way I feel as a result of showing up for myself. And I feel like a different person versus who I was when I started this month. Reading at Tortured Bloggers was remarkable. I got invited to do my first in-person speaking event for my writing. So that's happening in New York this month and I can't wait. I'll include a link if anybody's in New York and wants to come to that event. I'm like really excited for. I got a standing ovation. And then just talking about the people I'm looking to support this month and what that looks like. And if you're joining now, I have some journal prompts pinned to the top. We did a meditation earlier, so you can always go back and look at that. But just really reflecting on and getting intentional about your North Star intention for the month of March. And again, there's so many free resources on my website if you ever want to like use some of what I'm doing. Otherwise, these are in the planners. So the Ziggy planners. Perfect. No, that was not a manifestation. That is actually something that's happening. That's on March 18th in New York. So very excited for that event. I will include links. I'll include that in the notes on YouTube, and then I'll include that in the Instagram. But that's all I have for you today. So if you missed the meditation, make sure to go back to the beginning. It was really powerful. We had a visitor, my favorite little leopard, and we're going to have the best month of our lives so far. So with that, I release you back to your month, and I'm excited to see where we go from here. Thank you so much for being here.